Thank you, Bob, very much for those comments. So it's now time to present our prestigious Phyllis Rappaport Alumni Association Award, which is given each year to an outstanding MBA alumnus whose significant deeds and accomplishments exemplify the school's tradition of educating women for leadership. The Rappaport Award was established through a gift given by Jerry Rappaport to honor his wife, Phyllis. Phyllis Rappaport was a member of the first graduating class of the School of Management in 1975. Regretfully, Phyllis is not able to be with us this evening, so I have the honor of introducing our 2018 Rappaport Award winner. And I also want to let you know that we are having this taped so that Mrs. Rappaport will be able to see the winner and hear her talk and enjoy the fact that we have this award tradition continuing, even though she's not here to be with us. The winner of the award this year is Dianne Savastano. Of this award. She's a leader. She actually is going to speak before we give her anything, John, but I guess you're getting prepared. Okay. She's a leader in the private healthcare advisory field, a former nurse, hospital insurance and benefits executive, and a management consultant. She founded Health Assist in 2004 to offer expert help in demystifying healthcare and medical insurance and to provide customized services that help individuals and families navigate the complexities of the healthcare system, which those of you who are just graduating with your MBA in healthcare know a great deal about. She has presented at many national healthcare and women-related conferences. She's a founding member of the National Association of Healthcare Advocacy Consultants and serves on the board of directors as treasurer. She's an alumna, of course, of the Simmons School of Management, and she serves with us as a strategic advisor for the Healthcare MBA Program Committee. And she also is part of a large multidisciplinary physician practice as a member of the Patient Advisory Council. Now, Diane's looking over my shoulder and seeing many things that I crossed out because she also does much more, but I realize you're not here to listen to me talk about Dianne. You're here to hear what Dianne Savastano has to say to you. So let me introduce our wonderful award winner for this year. Welcome.
Well, thank you so very much. It is an honor to be selected to receive the Phyllis E. Rappaport Award. Knowing that Phyllis Rappaport was a member of the first graduating class at the Simmons School of Management, blazing a trail for me, and knowing that the Rappaport Foundation actively promotes the growth of leadership and innovation thinking in areas of healthcare as well as other areas makes it even more important to me. So since I received notification of this award from Patricia, I've experienced great joy, and it's derived from two subsequent experiences. Please allow me, the first was sharing this news, of course, with the most important people in my life. So please allow me to introduce you to my husband, Robert Norton, and my parents, Anne and Anthony Savastano. The additional joy came from spending a great deal of time this past week preparing for tonight and reflecting on and reliving some of my experiences with Simmons. My objective with sharing these remarks is to demonstrate just how relevant Simmons was and is to me, and to hope that when the graduates in this room, maybe one of you is up here 20 years from now receiving this award, that it means as much to you as it does to me. So I plan to share just a few stories that chronicle my 20-year journey, and I can't believe I'm saying 20 years. But anyway, so the first is about my very first experience or exposure to Simmons. And it was 1998, so just 20 years ago, and I was in the midst of a job search because I had voluntarily resigned from a position of leadership in a company that I just didn't feel shared my ethical values. And I was rejected for a position that I really wanted by a Simmons alum who told me I needed my MBA. Okay, so it gave me some food for thought. And so given the privilege of time, because I wasn't working, I decided to attend my very first Simmons Leadership Conference. And I left energized, not only by the amazing speakers that I heard, but more so by what I observed. And what I observed were Simmons alums who attended the conference, and I was listening, and they were chatting, and they were hugging, and they were reconnecting, and they were sharing stories about their careers and their families, and they were reminiscing about their days here at Simmons and how hard it was, and the dreaded team marketing project, and the ever-important study groups. And I decided that day that I wanted that. I wanted to be one of them. And I enrolled, and I started here in the fall of 1998. So when I arrived, based on that Simmons alum who rejected me, I of course wanted to enhance my knowledge and skills on the quantitative side. I was looking forward to sort of accounting and finance and economics. But just as much, I really wanted to learn about a woman's experience in the workplace. Because you see, I came here with 18 years of professional work experience and 25 years of work experience before I got here. And although I had great successes in my career, I also experienced harassment, discrimination, pay inequality. My ideas and suggestions had been marginalized, and I experienced latent sexism. And those experiences made me really angry sometimes, but at other times they left me questioning myself. As a feminist and an avid reader of feminist literature, I knew gender was playing out, but I just didn't have the framework to make sense of it all or to know what to do about it. So while here, I learned about debits and credits and present value of money and supply and demand, and from the behavioral curriculum, I learned about effective teams and building coalitions and gender inequality and conscious and unconscious bias and how that all plays out and how women are disappeared in the workplace, about tempered radicalism, negotiation and competition. I learned what happens when women assume and exert power in the workplace. I vividly remember the visceral negative response and reaction I received from my classmates when I brought up Hillary Clinton and her experience as a woman who exerted power. I was fascinated. Fast forward 20 years, and Michelle Obama's recent speech at our Simmons Leadership Conference, when she reflected on what was going on in the minds of women who chose not to vote for Hillary Clinton, arguably the most qualified candidate we've ever had for president, and instead voted for our current president. What does that say about us, she asked, and the standards we have for ourselves, and the incredibly high standards we hold other women to? Two of the most important things I learned here: question the paradigm, not myself. Use that gender lens to assess situations, but then be very strategic about how you address them or not. In the classroom, we studied leadership, what leadership really is, the research surrounding the topic, and different leadership frameworks. I received a piece of invaluable advice from one of my favorite professors, Cynthia Ingalls. She knew I was very interested in the topic of leadership, and she also knew that upon graduation I was moving to Jacksonville, Florida to join my husband, who had taken a position down there. So Cynthia had this great idea. She suggested that I conduct an independent research project on women in leadership by interviewing women in positions of leadership in Jacksonville. So I used the work of Kouzes and Posner and the 5 practices of exemplary leadership that emerged from their research to analyze the 13 different interviews that I did. She wanted me to do 5, but of course I did 13 because every woman I met said, well, you have to meet this one and you have to meet that one. Those practices so resonated with me that that framework just became a part of me. For those of you not familiar with that framework, the 5 practices are: inspire a shared vision, challenge the process, model the way, enable others to act, and encourage the heart. So fast forward 4 years, back here in Massachusetts, conducting another job search, And I made a decision to embark not only on my own business venture, but really on a brand new industry. That is the industry of healthcare advisory services or private healthcare advocacy. So to help me do that, what did I do? I came back to Simmons and I took a course in entrepreneurship because I hadn't had that when I was here. And I received wonderful help and advice to help me research and write my business plan. Thus was born Health Assist. It was born out of recognizing the unmet need that individuals and families have to be shepherded through the incredibly complex healthcare system that we are all forced to navigate. It was also born out of every career experience I had ever had up to that point that gave me that insider knowledge about direct patient care, inpatient care, outpatient care, insurance, managed care, and employee benefits. But mostly, it was born out of my desire for individual healthcare consumers to take control over the only thing we really have control over, and that's ourselves, and to take a leadership role in directing their own healthcare experiences. These 5 practices of exemplary leadership were playing out yet again, because at Health Assist, this is what we do. We inspire our clients to have a vision of what their healthcare experience can be like. For example, you can have a mutually respectful relationship with your physician in which you embark on shared decision-making. We challenge the process. For example, let's develop a strategy for how you're going to address the topic of communication with your physician following an experience in which you felt bullied by her. I had this experience just last week with a client. We enable others to act. For example, let's work on creating an agenda that you can use to take control of your meeting with your physician so that you feel satisfied at the end of that meeting. We model the way. Let's find the words that you can use in order to address that issue that was so upsetting to you last week when you felt bullied. We encourage the heart. Let's remember to always thank those healthcare professionals who often feel as though they're performing thankless work. That's just one example of how those 5 practices of exemplary leadership play out in our work every day. When my client relayed that she felt bullied, I felt frustrated. But my next reaction was, what are we going to do about it? We need to challenge it. This is your medical oncologist. You're going to have a relationship with her for years. And oh, by the way, that's what leaders do, even when it's hard and it's uncomfortable. I'm very proud of how Health Assist has evolved. I experience incredible satisfaction every day from not only serving our clients and serving them well, but making money at it, and now from contributing to the careers and livelihood of others, my fellow team members, as we've grown. My experiences at Simmons contributed so immensely to my success in life that several years ago, I made a conscious decision to support this organization with my energy, my time, my money, and in any way I could. I've attended 20 Simmons Leadership Conferences, including one in Switzerland this past year. I've served on the corporate sponsorship committee that helps to raise money for scholarships for students so that they can come and have the experience I've had. I served on the Alumni Association board for many years. I've served on search committees, and I currently serve on the advisory board of the Healthcare MBA. But my favorite thing to do here is to participate in the classroom with students. The Career Strategies class is one of my favorites because I get to meet students like you who become alums like me, and we are forever bonded. I never say no to a Simmons person who calls asking to meet with me. Never. Through these experiences, I've met Simmons alums from every class, and they've become my friends, and my colleagues, and my mentors, and yes, my clients. So in closing, I encourage the graduating students in the following way. Think about your leadership framework and use it as a tool in your toolbox as you demonstrate leadership in your work and in your life. When a situation is perplexing, remember to question the paradigm before you question yourself. Identify unconscious bias, not only in others, but maybe in yourself. But then be strategic in your approach. Lastly, I hope you hold on to this experience here at Simmons and remember that you are one of many Simmons graduates who have come before you and who are here for you, as others have been for me. Welcome to the Simmons alumni community, and thank you again for this lovely award.